Welcome back to Reflecting YLC. This is part 2 of our first episode of the podcast, From Hours to Purpose When Service Started to Matter. Okay, so our next question that we're going to talk about is what surprised you about yourself during this journey of serving at the Storehouse?
I think one thing that really surprised me, and one thing that I kind of had to realize kind of begrudgingly, was honestly how many little questions I asked people. Like I think growing up, I obviously am kind of in the same bubble. I've been friends with my friends since elementary school, middle school. So I never really had to break out of that kind of sphere and ask someone how their day was or just ask them what their name was even. So I think by volunteering, even with the fellow volunteers like Lucas and Javi, but also the neighbors, kind of putting myself past them and letting them talk to me, letting them answer the question. I think especially in a world today where it's very focused on yourself, very focused on me. How was my day going? Why was my day bad? I think really listening to someone else and being able to just honestly ask them just how their day was. I think that's so super important and something that I realized that I had to focus on. And I think even now, after obviously volunteering here for a while, I've been able to take that into outside the walls of the Storehouse and make so many more new friends and just talk to new people in a way that I never had before.
Yeah. And for me, similar to talking to people, something that surprised me was how much I've been able to grow by talking to people. It's for example, I've been taking Spanish for a couple of years now, and I feel like I've been about the same level for the last year until I started going to the Storehouse. Now I'm talking to people in Spanish, which you practice in class, but that doesn't count if we're being honest.
Right.
Talking in Spanish in class is just playing around. But talking to people in real life, a real conversation, I started to realize, oh wait, I have this ability to speak to people in Spanish, and I have decently advanced skills, and I have learned, and all it takes is to use them to get better. And that's really surprised me that I'm able to do that, able to speak English and instantly transition over to Spanish. And it's an amazing feeling. It feels like this work that I put in learning Spanish and spending all that time has really been useful, because now I can use this Spanish to put a smile on people's face. Language can easily connect people. Sometimes I'll walk up to somebody, maybe I'll say hello, and they'll give me a look, and I'm like, oh, wait, you speak Spanish? I speak Spanish. And then I start speaking Spanish, and all of a sudden, they have the biggest smile on their face. It's like, ¿Tú hablas español? Sí, yo hablo español también. And they always have the biggest smile, and it's such a great way to connect to people. It's something I've really been able to, exit my comfort zone with.
Yeah, and Javi and I were actually discussing that last Thursday at the food distribution.
Right.
He was telling me, I feel like I'm doing so much better now with my Spanish.
Yeah.
Because he had just come back from California, and he was like, I'm doing so much better with my Spanish. I'm like, I'm glad, because that means that the practice is really working. And I feel like kind of uniting what both of y'all were saying is when I started at the Storehouse personally, I was not extroverted. I was not talking to people. I wasn't talking to the neighbors, nor was I talking to other volunteers. And I feel like that was just because I was shy. I was a freshman. I was placed in this really big place where everything's working so smoothly together. The carts are being loaded. We're running it out to the neighbors, and I feel overwhelmed almost. And then you have the people at the Storehouse who are always there, always talking with all of the new people, making you feel welcome, making the place feel not so overwhelming. Some people that I can think of is Randy Jenkins, who we've talked about before, actually. Randy always, and it's just the one thing that he does that always makes someone feel more welcome. He has an exceptional memory of people's names.
Yeah, he does.
He remembers he asks everyone's names, and he will remember it every single time that you volunteer. So I knew going in, I had a friend at the Storehouse that wouldn't make the place feel so overwhelming.
Right.
Candace was talking about how she had been a greeter before, and I feel like the greeters are such an integral role with the volunteers because they're the ones who get people talking, get people comfortable. Elizabeth Thomas, Alicia, another Elizabeth, all these people who greet, they always make people feel welcome, and they're always wondering how to make first-time volunteers feel even more welcome than they used to. I remember I just recently was able to become a greeter, and I was greeting with Elizabeth Thomas, and she was telling me, she was asking me how I felt in my first time and how I could have felt more welcome, because she's always trying to improve, making people feel more welcome. That's something that I've been able to grow at the Storehouse, being able to talk more with people, being more extroverted, make others feel welcome, because I and everyone else who has volunteered knows how overwhelming it can be to begin and how stressful it is to talk to people on your own. So I definitely feel like that's such a big thing that has surprised me here at the Storehouse.
And I really want to hone in right on Randy. Randy is one of the most amazing volunteers at the Storehouse. I'd say 80% of the time, 90% of the time where I go in to volunteer at the food pantry, he is there, and he always has a smile, and he's always ready to do it, whether it's 110 degrees or 10 degrees. He always has a smile. And I'm like, Randy, you going to be okay out there? It's 100. He's like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Just comes in, get a sip of water, goes back out. Randy has really made it just amazing for me to be able to go in and consistently see him. Every time we go in and see Randy, everyone has a smile on their face. He does too.
Yeah, he never wants to bag. He's always running. He's always putting his all in running because he wants to communicate with the neighbors. Yeah. So we all love Randy at the Storehouse.
I have to say something to connect y'all's answers about kind of that kind of aha moment, meaning, Tessa, you were saying, I've learned how to ask questions of others. And Javi, I love how you were using, talking about Spanish. And then Lucas, you talked about being a greeter. I can't believe those were your three answers, because I have to throw mine in here too, which accompanies all three. So back in COVID, we had to shut down all of the volunteer opportunities, which put me in the position of being the greeter. And like you all, I had studied Spanish 3 years in high school and 1 year at university. And my Spanish was terrible. It's exactly what you said, Javi. Lots of classroom experience, but not really immersion. And so when the neighbors would come for food, this is back in 2020, they would approach me, and I knew they were speaking Spanish, and I started speaking Spanish. In my head, I was thinking, okay, I need the neighbor to stand in that line. How do I say line? Linea. Okay, and then working it through. And then I had Ruby Gipke, who is my built-in Spanish professor at the Storehouse, who was so kind and patient, who has taught me to this very day Spanish. But I started to reflect back in 2020, why do I feel so compelled to speak in Spanish? Why can't I just point? Why can't I just say, please stand in line? Why Spanish? And all of this connects for me to everything we're talking about today. It's the heart of service. I am speaking in Spanish to a neighbor because I want to demonstrate I am meeting the neighbor where they are, not asking the neighbor to meet me where I am. And I think that is huge. I think service implies I put you before I put myself. And I think about every single neighbor, regardless of the language that they speak, that how challenging it is for some to ask for help. I know it's challenging for me to ask for help for whatever I need that day. And so I think this whole point of asking people questions about themselves, Tessa, Javi, talking in Spanish, creating a connection that I speak that same language. Lucas, to your point about really coming from a place and finding one person to connect with. Randy being that person that you're like, okay, I've got someone here, creating that connection. That's what service is all about. It's getting out of the way of yourself. It's thinking less of yourself and looking at the other person and finding a way every time, no matter who you're with, to be an encourager, to be empathetic. Tessa, that's what I hear in your answers is I'm putting myself in someone else's shoes. That's when I think it moves from hours, filling a box, when you're like, okay, I see you. And when I see you, I want to connect with you. I don't want to just simply, push something out, or if I'm in Joseph's coat, throw bags and clothes in a bag. It's really about, can I meet you where you're at? And your answers, y'all, are just so stunning to me because it demonstrates that there is this thread of compassion and service. Like we all have it. It sounds different. It might manifest different, but it's all the sense of compassion that each of you have. And it's just so beautiful. Warms my heart.
Yeah, I loved how we all kind of chimed in on that idea, like universal connection in that way. And I think the Storehouse does such a beautiful job of encouraging us to do that. like I've noticed just how on the screens there's like those Spanish phrases you can say, like bienvenidos, or Josh is always encouraging us before we go to, smile or just say something in Spanish. And I think it's just so cool how the Storehouse not only like wants us to step out of our comfort zone, but also just like you said, kind of meet the neighbors where they are.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like it's hard in the world right now to find that.
Oh my
compassion.
goodness, yes.
Definitely.
I feel like we feel so pessimistic about everything going on, and that we aren't capable of that compassion no matter what age we are.
1,000%. And at the Storehouse, we want to be this haven of, like, this is a moment where we're just as neighbors, as I've said before. And Tessa, I so appreciate what you said about like the Spanish phrases on the screen. That's by intention. That's not just, hey, let's help you out with some Spanish. We put those up there for the very thing that Javi described, right? That we want you to read that. And the other thing, I'm sure you've seen this in the Storehouse, in the food distribution area, we have 3 core values, 3 values that we ask everybody to hold on to when they come to the playground of the Storehouse. And that's encouragement, it is empathy, and it's engagement. And encouragement is just finding something to support another person with, no matter who, neighbor, volunteer, staff member. Empathy, what does it feel like right now for this volunteer that's running carts in 100-degree weather? What do we do there? And engagement is the sense of like, we're not just mailing it in, like we're not just kind of schlepping food, if you will, that it's really, you're recognizing somebody is driving on that campus and we are in this incredible privileged position to help. Not a position of privilege, but a privileged position to help.
I absolutely love that, Candace. And the fact that we all use the word neighbor as what we describe everyone, it's such an important term because it unites everyone at the same level. It makes us all people who are all fighting our battles and who all need help, like Candace said, in different ways. And, you never really take a deep dive into the terms that you use, but words have so much power. And
yes, sir.
Calling people our neighbor, it's what we were intended to do. And I feel like that's just such an important thing that we've been able to accomplish at the Storehouse.
Definitely.
And something that you mentioned, Candace, is everything is by design. Nothing has happened by accident. It's like you go out, you see the greeter giving the candy bags to the little kids. They don't just hand them to you. It's by design. They go down, get on the kids' level, say hello, give them the bag. It's like everything much different. It's like the volunteers go outside. There's not just a bag or a box of candy and chips there just for fun. No, it's like it's by design. You need this encouragement.
Yeah.
It's like you need something else. Everything is by design.
Yeah.
It's like they wait in a line. They're not just out there waiting in a line. They have cover. They have people going around making sure everything's okay. It's like everything is done by design. That's what's really amazing by the Storehouse. Nothing is unintentional.
And that means so much to me. And I know when my colleagues, the staff, hear you say that, Javi, they're going to smile so big because that is so, so true. We talk all the time about what does it feel like if you are a neighbor? What does it feel like if you are a volunteer?
It's so easy for all this stuff to go unnoticed because it's been done so well.
Yeah.
It's like you walk in, it's seamless. You walk in, there's a check-in table right there. There's an open path straight to walk into the check-in table. I'm sure that's not on accident.
No, sir.
It's not just placed there for no reason.
That's
It's
right.
like the whole team has done all this work to make sure it's easy.
Well, and I think if I can, friend, that ties back to one of your comments earlier in the podcast about the people.
Right.
We're thinking about the people. We're thinking about the people that are serving, and we're thinking about the people that are serving. And that's what I think the staff position is, right? So for us, there is purpose in this, not just because we get a paycheck, where we have this incredible, incredible honor to receive a paycheck to do this work. But I think everyone on our team is thinking about the people and how do we ensure that it is satisfying and gratifying in every aspect.
And it's funny because I feel like what Javi was saying about everything being intentional and seamless is why it felt so overwhelming for me to begin with, because you're walking into such an efficient, like, everything is working perfectly. Yep. And you're like, okay, I can't mess this up. That's like high pressure, high stakes. And I just like, it is the way that everything has been designed is phenomenal because it truly makes the experience 110%, like, amazing for the volunteers as well as the neighbors. And, I commend you, Candace, and all of the employees at the Storehouse for being able to do that.
Y'all, that means so much. But really, all the credit goes to the incredible colleagues that I serve with day in, day out. Just real quickly, I had to do something in the community this morning, and this community partner was talking about how it was so great to volunteer at the Storehouse and all the things you just so kindly said, Lucas. And I said, I cannot stand group projects. When I was like in high school and college, I was like, ugh, I hate a group project. Just me. That's my personality. I said, but working at the Storehouse, it feels like I'm on a group project where I got to pick the people on the project I wanted to work with. And so there's just this incredible unity and sense of community that every one of my colleagues on that phenomenal team, I can almost get emotional about it. Like they truly feed, clothe, and care about our neighbor. It is not marketing material. They were built and they're placed to do this for this season. And it's so humbling to be a part of that team.
It's absolutely amazing. Another question is, how did volunteering become meaningful rather than just a task? Why is bagging and running and loading, why is that meaningful to you? Because Tessa, you talked earlier about how coming from school, you're tired, and it may feel like a monotonous task that you're doing over and over, running carts. Why does things like this have meaning to you?
Yeah, I think specifically working or volunteering at the Storehouse gives me a lot of meaning because it kind of just humbles me, honestly. I think it's easy for me to complain about a math test or, maybe like a fight with my sister. But then when I see my neighbors and I see how those problems are probably so mundane to them, I think I just kind of take a seat back and I'm like, wow, I'm so blessed in this life. And that what you were kind of saying reminds me of a quote. Don't quote me on this. I think it's from Dalai Lama, but I'm not sure. But I think it goes like, be kind, or it is always possible to be kind, something like that. And I think
love that.
It's super easy, especially in today's world, especially as I'm applying for college, to just kind of do it, like you said, like just check off the box. But just remembering that like being kind is my purpose, and then that is what I think I was put on this earth for. I think that just kind of reminds me that, volunteering can be fun and it's important.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Being kind is one of the easiest things you can do. And it's crazy how it has some of the best effect on yourself and other people.
So
it's
true.
like you can have unlimited amounts of money. You might not still be happy, but if you're going out being kind, other people are being kind to you. Now that's just going to be like, you're going to be happy. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what your struggles are. If you have people being kind to you and you're being kind to people, it brings a fulfilling feeling to you that nothing else can really give.
So true.
I feel like that ties the culture of the Storehouse, which is what we've been talking all along. But in addition to that, it ties to the culture of the YLC, which I think Tessa, Javi, and I have been able to truly experience. Tessa, you've already been in this program going your 4th year.
Yeah, I'm a veteran.
All right then.
Javier, this is your 1st year coming in.
Freshman? Not really, but you know what I mean.
And this will be my 2nd year. And I feel like being kind is literally like at the forefront of the YLC. Something that I want to talk about a little bit is the service days that we do in the YLC. The amount of people my age that I've been able to meet and share in this compassion and this compassion and passion to be to be kind and joyful and help the neighbors. I always love the YLC service days because I'm able to connect with other people my age who have been able to connect on that same level that I'm able to.
Yeah.
Y'all speak about that a little bit.
I definitely agree. I think even just the fact that me, Javi, and Lucas all had a class together at one point, we were all in Act Ec.
Yep.
I think even just now, I'm so much closer to both of you than I think I was even through school. So I think that just kind of shows how like bonding service is, and there's truly nothing like it. Because in school, you're kind of just hanging out with your own friends.
Right.
I'm obviously in a different grade than both of y'all. I mean, like we would say hi occasionally, but I think by volunteering, now I feel like I truly know you guys, and I think that's super cool.
I love that.
Yeah, same as Candace mentioned, I am a freshie to YLC, so I don't have all those experiences just yet. But being able to volunteer, and of course there's still people my age around, it's allowed me to exit my comfort zone, talk to new people who I don't know or have never met before, who outside of Storehouse I probably wouldn't have even thought to go up to, but now I go up to these people like Lucas, different Lucas.
Oh yeah.
He's in the YLC, and I talk to him. He's like now in my squad, and now I have somebody I know and someone else I can connect with.
He is super financially literate, by the way. I just have
really?
to point that out. He is so smart. I talked with him the first time like a couple weeks ago at a Wednesday distribution, and he told me all that he was doing with his investments, and I was like, hey, I'm going to take some of that.
Yeah.
But going off of what Tessa was saying about different grade levels, it definitely helps you connect to different grade levels. It helps you provide advice, kind of in a position where Candace is at right now, providing such clarity, insight into from her life for the young generation. I feel like older students from the YLC are able to help younger students connect with their passion in serving and other things as well. One person I think of who just recently graduated is Abby Mucho. She was a senior last year. Let me tell you, she was probably the number one most welcoming person, at least for me, and I feel like for a lot of people as well. She was always so happy and excited to be at the YLC meetings. And by the end, I went to her grad party. Like, I was friends with her, and she gave me so much insight. And I was just a sophomore last year, joining the YLC, just like when I was a freshman joining the Storehouse. Being a sophomore joining the YLC for the first time, I am introverted. I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm nervous. And the way that she wasn't even in my squad, and the way that she was able to be so kind and help me out, it speaks to the culture of the YLC.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to brag on someone on the YLC, Claire Pritchett. She's younger than me, obviously, but I think the way we talk just about, AP exams or school, she obviously is in soccer. I think it's amazing how we're able to connect with those different grade levels, and she's able to ask me for advice. I'm able to tell her, which AP classes maybe she shouldn't be taking. Like AP World, that was hard, but just kind of having that connection was super, super cool.
I have to tie some themes in here. I could listen to y'all talk for hours, but don't worry, listener, our podcast is not for hours. The word intentional, the word kind, the word like sharing or pouring into someone. All of that in the YLC experience starts at the top, and that really is just the labor of love and investment of Ben Skye. I don't know if y'all know, but the YLC was started in 2020 by myself and another, if you will, adult volunteer, a woman my age who was a mom of a high schooler. And in the first year we had, I think, a good year, but when me and the other volunteer stood up, I always felt like we felt like moms to the YLC because we are moms, right? But I felt there was always respect and kindness within the group, but I was like, I don't know that the connection that I'm looking for the entity called YLC is we can really get there because of the age difference, right? You take someone like Ben, who is definitely closer in age to you all, but so much more importantly than his age is his understanding of service. And I'm sure you've all heard in this podcast room, and hopefully listeners, I'm encouraging you to ask Ben about his life story. And when you hear his life story and what he has been through and his intersection of work at the Storehouse, and then his incredible investment in each and every member of the YLC. Like, he has taken the YLC where we started 5 years ago, if we were at a level 1, in a year he took it to level 5, and now I think it's, at a level 9, a level 10. It's intentional. Everything, those service days are intentional. What you all have said, that was part of the vision of the YLC. Could we get young people to get out of their bubble and not just hang with the people they do at school, but could they meet someone that's not like them from another school or whatnot? And I cannot express in words, I'm not just saying this for the podcast, I'm saying it to the three of you. It's like so energizing and gratifying that this idea that we had during the pandemic, I'm sitting in a podcast room with the vision realized with 3 outstanding leaders. I mean, I wish you could just be in my head and heart for 30 seconds to understand, like, you had this vision during the pandemic over Zoom, and here it is absolutely manifested in these incredible stories. So just y'all, thank you for just sharing, not only with the audience, but in this second. May I just say thank you for sharing with me. So good.
Thank you so much, Candace, because this, and to go off of what you said, there's just so many words I could say, but this podcast, I'm so grateful for all three of y'all being here, especially you, Candace, for helping me with this podcast. But in addition to that, Ben, this podcast would not be possible without Ben, because Ben is the one who pushed me out of my comfort zone, taught me the leadership skills to even approach Candace with this project. And I think that this podcast is just a reflection of his leadership.
Hear him.
And he is truly at the core of YLC and everything that the YLC stands for. And I couldn't be more thankful for him.
I agree. I think we're all Ben's #1 fans.
That's right.
He's also just like a super funny guy. Like just talking to him is a blast.
Yeah, he is. He always has a good laugh to share.
I love it. I love it.
Before we wrap up, if this conversation resonated with you, if you've ever wondered how to find meaning in what you do or how to make your time count, like we have found at the Storehouse, I please encourage you to take a step. It doesn't have to be a big step, but please take initiative. Serve somewhere. Listen to someone's story. Reflect on what matters to you. Whether it's at the Storehouse where we're at or another fantastic organization, there's tons. Service isn't about checking a box. It's about becoming more human, more aware, and more connected to the world around you, making real impact one person at a time. Thank you so much for listening to the first episode of Reflecting YLC. I'm incredibly grateful to Tessa, Javi, and Candace for being part of this conversation, and I'm extremely grateful to you, the listener, for taking the time to listen and reflect with us. We'll be back soon with more real stories, more honest conversations, and lots of reflections from the YLC. Until then, keep showing up, keep serving, and keep becoming the best version of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas.
Thank you.